Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you've never seen any of my videos. I'm making a special video today. In this video I will be talking about my pregnancy journey. If you don't know, I am pregnant. I'm already halfway through, and I'm just going to talk about how I found out from the beginning and go into detail from there. If you see me looking at my phone, it's because I have like notes on here and I don't want to like miss anything. Obviously I'm not in a rush, and I wasn't in a rush kind of ish, but I'm only 23 years old, so I'm young, and this is just something I've always wanted, something that I feel like has always been like part of my what I want for my future. A while ago we did unfortunately have a miscarriage, and we did have complication there, and that was something that we did have to deal with, and obviously it was an emotional time, and not many people knew when that happened. I only told a couple people, or some people knew, so it was something that I kind of also went through by myself and with my partner. And since that happened, which was a few years ago, obviously since then obviously you want a baby, and that's like something that's like hard that you go through and that you think about, and like what could have been. Something that was hard in that time of trying is just like seeing a bunch of negative tests, and just feeling like defeated. I feel like that's the best way I could put it. I felt like my body wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. It felt just kind of like, dang, like what's wrong with me? I remember I would feel like all that. This is a kind of hard thing to say, that was a little something that challenging, and I feel like it's like we're human, and we feel a way, or it's normal to feel this way, but like seeing so many people happy and getting what they want with like having babies, and getting blessed, with that, it just only would make me feel like, man, like I'm so happy for you, but when is it going to be my turn? Or I'm so happy for you, but like God hasn't answered my prayers, and it's hard. And that's something that I would feel a lot, or I would feel like it would be hard to be like I don't know how to explain it, because I don't want it to sound like if I was like upset or anything, because I wasn't. It was more like something with myself that I felt, that is something I struggled with during the trying time. And like as time went on, of like not being careful, like I haven't been, we were never like really careful, and we just he kind of like didn't really think anything would like happen, and I also felt like, I mean, in God's timing it'll happen, and like we'll just see. As time went on of like trying, it was like started to be a big toll on me, where I started to think like, man, like something's wrong with me, and I remember it came to a point where I was talking to like a friend, and I was like, man, I think like I should go to an infertility clinic, like, and I wanted to like just get answers, or see like, well, what is, like, maybe my body's not doing something, or I don't know, maybe his isn't. So that was something that I thought about, and I remember also going back and forth with that, because I was like, if I go do this, that technically means that I mean, in my eyes, okay, I could be wrong by saying this, maybe that means to me that I'm not trusting in God's plan, that I'm trying to take matters into my own hands, and so that was something that I also battled with, and I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna give it another year, because I remember I went to my OB, and my OB told me, you're not technically trying, or you're not considered infertile unless you're actually like tracking the ovulation days and doing that for a full year, and that's when we would be kind of concerned, or like want to see you. And I wasn't really doing that. I was just kind of like, when it happened, and I was taking a test and it wasn't coming out. That was me kind of like losing faith in God's timing, and just kind of like saying like, God, you know what, like I trust you, but I'm gonna still take matters into my own hands. I'm still gonna try to do this and do that and do this. So it came to a point where I really sat there and was like, you know what, God, like what am I in a rush for? Like I do trust in your timing. And honestly, I would tell people too, I'd be like, you know what, if I do have a baby right now, and this would be like a year ago, I was talking about this, I was like, man, or months ago, I forgot, almost a year ago, I'd be like, if I did have a baby right now, like maybe I don't have 100% of the time to put into focusing on him or her. And I just started to think like, you know what, maybe God is telling me that it's not my time, and that I wouldn't be able to fully focus, because I did barely open a tattoo shop at the time, and I did barely get artists and there was a lot I had to think about that I was like not, I was trying to be selfish at first, you know, and now I was thinking more like, all right, let's be realistic. So I did trust in God's timing, and during this time I went through something where I had to get healthy. I had no option but to like take care of myself and be active and start eating healthy, and not drink any alcohol and stuff like that. So I was taking care of myself for maybe like 4 months that I had to do this. And that's when God decided to bless me. This one time I was late 3 days. And in the back of my head, I was like, maybe, but I was like, no, there's no way, because like I've been a whole week late. I was like, don't get your hopes up, girl. I was like, you've been a whole week late. Like, this is only 3 days. It's not a lot. You know? So I told myself, wait a week and then we'll do it. But like I said, I was just really nervous, and I felt nervous, and like something was telling me to take a test. So next I was like, I'll take it in the morning, because that's like the first pee that they say like is like the most accurate. So I woke up early and I went to the restroom and I went pee and I recorded a video, and maybe I'll insert the video, I don't know, maybe, but I was recording a video myself, and I was talking about how I was feeling and how I was nervous. And then I also like recorded like where you put the test to the I also recorded where you put the test to the camera, and like the camera sees it first. And I remember I looked in the mirror and I was like, wait, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was super shocked and I was crying, and I was like, thank you, God, thank you so much, God. Like, and what's crazy about this is the day before I found out, I was in the shower and I saw a YouTube video, and it was like, or a TikTok, it was like, you should get a journal and write about, like, journal to God, or like write about how you felt, and like when you were in your trying times, and like before God answers your prayer, how did you feel, you know? So when he does answer your prayer, you could look back at it. And I was like, I'm gonna go do that. I remember in the shower I was like, I'm gonna go do that. And then, so it's just crazy that the next day that happened, and I was like, wow, like, you know, I don't know, it was just literally God's timing was perfect. And I remember too, before I found out I was pregnant, I would like cry. I remember I would take tests and I would cry and I would cry. And I would like, my sister-in-law has like caught me before too, where she's just like, oh Des, like, where I'm just like, you know, like I would see a negative and I'd just start crying. And I remember I would pray and I would tell God, like, God, when I get a positive test, please let it be so clear that I won't be like staring at it trying to find a line. Like, it would be so clear that I just know it's just like obvious test, you know? So the test that I took and that I found out that I was pregnant, it was super, super dark. And I was like, oh my gosh. At this time, I was estimated to be 5 weeks pregnant. And I told him, and he was like excited, but he was also like in shock. And I was like, I have my appointment in 3 weeks. So I was like, that's a long time to wait. So it was a stressful 3 weeks, you know, constantly taking tests, trying to make sure that it's like still positive. And I went to my first appointment. Everything was good. Baby was healthy. I'm healthy. So, you know, obviously we're like happy. And I remember I would have so much anxiety. That was one of my symptoms that I thought was a symptom. I had bad anxiety. And I was like, man, is this a pregnancy symptom? Asking ChatGPT, like, what is this symptom? And I think it was just actually because I was nervous to tell my family I was pregnant, and I knew I had to do that, you know, at some point. And my parents are very, 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 very supportive, and I knew that they would support me and like be happy. But I don't know why, for some reason I was just really, really anxious. And so once I got my ultrasound, my 8 weeks appointment, I told my partner, I was like, I think I'm gonna tell my sister at least, because like I'm just like really anxious or whatever. And he's like, okay. And some people would tell me, you should wait, or like you should wait till 13, or you should wait till like your 3 months, you know, that's just like a safe zone. But then I also saw this TikTok. The girl was like saying, like, I told my family when I wanted to, which was sooner than the 3 months. And she said, because if a miscarriage is gonna happen, and if it's not meant to be, and something just goes a different way than you envision, she goes, it's gonna happen regardless. Like, if that was meant to happen, it was gonna happen. And doesn't matter if you told them in the beginning, doesn't matter if you told them in the middle, doesn't matter if you told them in the end. So for her mind was like, why don't I tell them, and I have that support at least if something did happen, versus nobody even knows, you know? So I took that as like, you know what, You're right. I remember this day. I was like I wasn't planning like to really tell her yet. So I recorded her reaction and I showed her the ultrasound. I just told her like, oh, I just took these pictures. Do you want to see? And she's like, yeah. So I pulled it out and she was like super shocked, but she was excited. She was like, oh. I knew that day. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna tell my parents then. So I go home. I set something up for them. They came home like way later. So when they got home, they saw it and they were both also very happy. And my dad's reaction was funny too. He goes, you too? And then he just hugged me and told me like, you know, babies are blessings and God sends us babies, you know. And he prayed. He was like, let's just pray. So he prayed, and then at the end he's like, and God, I'm praying for a boy. We told everybody after that. After I told my parents and my siblings, we pretty much just told everybody else, and we were super excited and happy to, you know, finally get to enjoy our pregnancy. Fast forward now to now. So I'm already halfway through my pregnancy and I'm extremely happy. I didn't get any nausea. I didn't get any morning sickness. I didn't get any of that stuff. My first trimester, I felt more like tired. I was extremely tired. That was one of the symptoms that threw it off where I found out I was pregnant, because I was like, girl, I could never take day naps, and I was taking naps. So I remember I was extremely tired. It felt hard for me to like get up and do stuff. One of my symptoms, I don't know how to explain it, like it was so weird. It was like I would be extremely hungry. I would drive to go get food. Let's just say I was like in a line to get food. I would literally feel like I wanted to cry because I was so hungry. Like it feels like, I don't even know how to explain it. And hopefully someone has been through that so they can so you don't think I'm crazy. I would tell myself like, Des, relax. Like you're about to pay right now and get your food. Like chill. Everything else was pretty smooth, and then I just felt like a loss of energy. I didn't want to do my makeup. I didn't want to get ready. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't have the urge to do that. That is as far as symptoms. And then as far as cravings or anything, because people have asked me if I have had any crazy cravings. And I haven't had anything like that where you're going to say like, oh, that's weird or anything like that. But I guess in the first trimester, the only thing I wanted to eat for breakfast was Chick-fil-A breakfast. I didn't have it every day. Before you guys come and be like, girl, you should not be doing that. But Karen, people do crack while they're pregnant, so I think I'm alright. But I'm just kidding. Lastly, I'm gonna talk about something juicy. Just kidding. I'm gonna talk about something that people don't say enough, or I think they do say enough. Honestly, I've seen so many videos that people say this on TikTok, and I don't know why it still happens to people. And people being me too. I'm a victim. Just kidding. Sometimes people will say rude comments, or like comments that they might not think is rude, about a pregnant woman's body, and it's just like, first of all, relax. And a lot of the people who do say something already, they had a baby too, so it's like, girl, your body changed too before, and like you have a strong opinion on this, and like I don't know, like how do you not think it's offensive, you know? So an example is where people will tell me or be like, oh, like I wasn't showing when I was that far along, or like, oh, you're already showing. Another thing that someone has said, or like people have said, is like, oh, like wow, like you're big, or like you're big for how far along you are. I'm like, girl, like that's mean. Like you're calling me fat. That's what you're doing. And it's not just me, because I've talked to other people who are pregnant or who have been pregnant that I'm close to, and have said the same thing, that people make comments, or it's like valid to feel this way, you know? But I hope those people know that, why would I let you be around my baby if you're making my baby feelings hurt, you know? Yeah, that's that's like weird things that I feel like people feel entitled to give an opinion on, or like ask about your body and certain things, where it's like, why does it even matter? First of all. Second of all, I don't care about your opinion. And third of all, everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. Everyone carries different. And thank God I've had this client yesterday, and she's like, how far along are you? And I told her, and she's like, oh my gosh. It was the first person and only person to tell me this. She goes, oh my gosh, like you're so small for how far along you are. She's like, she goes, I started showing around the time that you are, but like you look good, you're small. And I was like, wow, thanks. I was like, thank you, because nobody has told me that. I was like, oh, everyone has told me that, oh my gosh, you're so big, or oh my gosh, you're showing already. I'm like, I'm halfway through, like I'm pregnant. Well, moral of the story, keep your opinions to yourself. I don't want to hear it. And next time I hear someone tell me something like that, I'm just gonna say it to you, like, girl, like, don't be mean, or like, you're fat and you're not even pregnant. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna say that, but it's just like annoying, especially because we already go through all these hormones and already feel a certain way. Or maybe I'm extra, call me extra, I don't care. Let's see if I can show you guys how my bump looks right now. That's the bump date. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Desi Tattoos or at Your Fave Des for more lifestyle content. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment any feedback if you guys have any. Bye.